Hi, I'm Mel,
And I'm Janelle.
and this is the Murder Mamas. Welcome. It's the second
Hello.
time we've had to introduce ourselves.
I didn't realize we were doing that, and then you just said your name. Anyway, here we are.
Here we are.
2 weeks in a row. Look at us.
Yay.
Shining stars.
So tonight we're going to be talking about Victim Suspect, and you can find this on Netflix. And if you really want to go into a rage, I suggest watching this.
This is for you.
This is for you. If you have any sort of problems with sexual assault or anything like that, maybe skip this episode.
I don't know that problems is the right word there.
I didn't mean problems. Like if you have, that was wrong. You're right. Holy shit. My bad. If you have any trauma with sexual assault.
Trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
This is a lot about sexual assault.
It's a lot. And it's a lot about just dumb cops, basically. So.
Yes, it really is.
It's just
this
horrible.
whole thing could be summarized in like how cops are awful 101.
Right.
To women, specifically.
Yeah. To women. Yes.
Just
I almost threw my remote at the TV several times at these stupid talking heads. So let's get on with the show.
Alrighty.
All right. So we meet. So it kind of like introduces some people and then tells their story. And then it goes to like another person's story. And then it goes back to the other person's story.
It's very linear.
Right.
So this is not going to be linear.
No, this is going to be.
And Mel's running this one. So it's going to be extra tough.
It's going to be tough. So first we meet Rachael, and she is an investigator reporter, or she's like
she's an investigative journalist.
That's what I was looking for. At first she started on cases like potholes in the city, and she was like,
that was really cute. She was talking about doing it in high school.
Yeah.
As like an intern.
Yeah. And then she said she really wanted to work for the Center of Investigating Reporting. Mm-hmm. That was her goal. And she did it.
Yeah.
And this is her story about her finding out about these other stories.
Correct.
And she said at the end, like, I don't know if this is going to do anything for anybody. And I just want to, but it's journalism. So sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I can't get mad. And I thought, no, it is going to do a lot because you're on Netflix now and people are watching and you're going to have podcasts talking about your Netflix. Like, this is going to go and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt some people and make them want to do something about it, I think. So yeah. I give her props. Like, she did a great job.
I do too. I think she really exemplifies like what it means to be like an unbiased investigative journalist who is literally looking for facts.
Yeah.
And like, where do these facts lead me and how do these facts tie into each other and what is the web that these facts are building?
Right.
Without having any of that bias. Like I think she really did so well.
I think so too. I don't think I could be I would be emotional at some of these interviews.
I mean, you do see her get emotional at certain points.
But not when she's like talking to the
correct.
People. Yeah.
She even explicitly says like there's a fine line between like me being your friend. Mm-hmm. I put that in air quotes for people who can't see. And like me being an investigative journalist who is here to find out what the facts are and what they mean and how they tie in and what are we looking at like systemically.
Yeah.
And so again, I think she did just a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree.
On this piece. She spent years working on it.
Oh, years.
It was not.
This was.
It just continued to snowball, or it was like an onion, and she would like peel back a layer and a layer and a layer, and she just never stopped. And
yeah, it was great.
Applaud her.
I do too. We meet Nikki in 2017, which is at the height of the Me Too movement. So we've got, I don't know, the men who think that Me Too is just over the top. And then we've got the women who are Me Too proud. Like, this should not happen.
Dude, that feels like it was like 15 lifetimes ago.
When they said 2017, I was like, oh.
That's it?
That's it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally had the exact same thought. I was like, that was when like Bo was born?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, I feel like I've lived like 7 lives since then.
I know.
So crazy.
Yep. Yeah. And so she reported that she had been what?
Oh no, go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say, like, Nikki is a victim.
Oh yes.
An alleged victim.
An alleged victim, yes.
Of sexual assault.
Of sexual assault. And so she made a police report. And what ended up happening to her was they said that she was making a false police report. And then they decided to put tampering with evidence onto her case for getting a rape kit done. She tampered with evidence getting a rape kit. I've never heard of that. Have you?
No.
Tampering with tampering with her own vagina? I think she's allowed to do whatever she wants to do with that. That got me. I was like, what the fuck is right there? Like, I could really not believe that they said that those words came out of their mouth.
So, can we give a little backstory on where Nikki's located geographically, or are we not?
No. Yeah, I just have notes all over the place. Like, it goes back and forth. So
things are hard for you.
Yes, they are.
So I'm actually just going to mention it now rather than have you look through 17 pages of notes. It really is like 15 pages. I don't know.
What the fuck, motherfucker?
No, so Nikki is a college student in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. She is from a small town in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it was New Hampshire.
Oh, no, that's Emma.
Oh, is that Emma?
Yeah. Emma went to New Hampshire with 60 kids in her graduating class. Okay. Yeah.
So who's Nikki?
Nikki was the first one. I think we'll get back to Nikki.
Okay, but she was also in Alabama, right?
Yeah, she was.
No, she was the Connecticut one.
She was?
Gosh, darn it.
Okay. No, I believe you.
I'm pretty sure it was like New Haven or something in Connecticut.
Okay.
Where the detective at the end, you'll have to cut some of this out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where the detective at the end finally gets the documentarian to question him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. But Nikki actually pled guilty and went to prison. And it was widely reported on. As soon as she was convicted, her face, her name, her picture were all public for people to see. So she is assuming to be a victim and then totally gets backlashed by the police, and her name gets out there, which victims' names should not be made public. Not only that, then their face should not be out there either. So that was horrible. That is poor.
Okay, I'm sorry. So just to backtrack, Nikki was she was from Long Island. She was 19 years old, but she was going to college at Sacred Heart University.
Yes,
in Connecticut.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that was raped by 2
football players.
2 football players is what she said.
Correct.
Okay. And then we meet Emma. We kind of meet, there's these girls.
There's multiple sexual assault victims that are introduced.
And she's 18 years old. She's from Alabama. And I'm like, hey, what's up, Alabama? What are you doing? You're not doing it right. We're seeing her now, which she's 23 years old. And she was in New Hampshire. She had 60 kids in her graduating class. So that just... Tiny. And I feel like 60 kids, that means you're probably very sheltered. You don't know what's going on in the out, because that's tiny. I can't imagine. And she goes to college and then she says, I had 10,000 people in my freshman class.
Yeah. So she was attending the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
So she was like, what? That's a lot. From 60 to 10,000.
That's a huge culture shock.
Huge culture shock. So she goes to a frat row area where all the frats are, lined up. And guys were talking to the girls, and
it was a normal college
party night. And
if you've ever been to a college party.
Yeah. And she tells her parents, she ends up talking to her parents and tells them what happened. And her mom said to go to the hospital and to get a rape kit. And she's sitting there in just a gown, and two male police officers walk into the room to ask her questions. First of all, let's finish the rape kit. Second of all, let's get a female officer in there while she is undressed.
Or even a female nurse, just someone of the same gender to make her feel more comfortable.
I thought that was horrible.
It's very insensitive.
You put a female needs to be in there, not a male. And so they were just like, so 3 days later after this, they call her into the police station she's thinking they want to know facts.
Yeah.
What happened? Tell us your story. We need evidence to build against these guys. Like, let's do this. That's not what happened.
No.
It's not what happened at all. Investigator Jared.
Some would say the exact opposite happened.
Yeah. And I'm going to say Investigator Jared, come at me. Says he watched the video and does not believe her. And he said, quote, "I do not believe you at all." And says that straight to her face. And she's thinking, what video? Like, where are you getting this from? Like, I don't understand.
I feel so bad for her. Like,
rage.
I just can't imagine feeling that powerless. No. You've been violated. Mm-hmm. Like, you've had something horrific and traumatic happen to you. And then presumably she's had good experiences with the police in the past. She doesn't mention that.
Right.
But that's the assumption I make, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go to the police for help when this really traumatic thing happens. And they're like, actually,
no,
you're full of shit.
Yeah.
And just how belittling and demeaning that must feel. Like, I
horrific.
Have a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
And for her. And like 18-year-old her.
Yeah.
Like,
well, even 23-year-old
absolutely.
her.
But I'm saying, like, specifically brand new to a new area.
Very young.
With no one.
Yeah.
From such a small, like, such a culture shock, and just how horrible that must have felt.
Right.
I can't even begin to feel that.
And some of the other main prosecutors that we hear about later on, they're like, this is not a middle-aged woman who knows about the world. Correct. This is an 18-year-old
and I think that's
baby who doesn't know how to act.
I think he mentions that about all of them.
Yeah. Like,
the pattern that unfolds is that it's this scrutiny is happening to these young girls rather than, say, someone my age or your age who went and did the same thing, right? Like, why am I more believable than an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
You
shouldn't be.
No. I think everyone, like, if everyone is innocent until proven guilty, like, then it should be believed until proven that there's no basis for that.
And I also have, like, her interviews were over 2 hours long. Let's just keep that in mind when we get...
She's in a room with these men by herself again.
Again, freezing cold.
She also says, like, she specifically says that she put on multiple layers of clothes because she felt so vulnerable. Like, to go down to the police station, even when she thought they were going to be helping her. She's wearing, like, a polo,
a long sleeve
shirt, a vest, pants, like jeans. She's very covered up.
Yeah.
Because she just does not feel safe and secure.
Right. So her case ended up being closed due to her confession, because she finally just confessed after the cops berated her to. They told her, and then they lied, because you can lie in the United States to people, to suspects.
Well, it's not a lie, Mel. It's a ruse.
Well, no, I'm going to go ahead and say that's a lie.
It's a ruse.
I'm going to...
So she says that she made it up.
Yeah. And while in jail, her article with her picture, her full name, and everything was published online. And then other newspapers caught up to that, published it again, and then the jail Facebook page posted it to their thing. What?
Yeah.
That is horrible.
It just sort of snowballed and was not good.
Horrific.
Yeah.
And then we meet Megan. And this was a week before Emma's court date. She reads about Megan. And TJ was the accused. I forget what his...
Sweet tea,
whatever. I put TJ because I refuse to call him Sweet Tea. Was accused, and he was one of the most prominent families in Alabama. And so
I just wanted to point out,
yeah,
this is the exact same area.
Yeah.
So the same detectives,
yes,
the same investigators are working both of these. Just
yeah,
want to point that out.
And so she was taking summer classes and was supposed to return home that weekend, but decided to go out because she's allowed to do that. Yeah. And this guy takes her. She says, I kind of knew him because I had been in the bar. I don't know if he knew me, but like I didn't know him. I just knew of him.
Trivia night or something?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. It wasn't even like a frat party. It was trivia night. Yeah. So she goes with him and a guy named Jason back to his car. And she says that they took her and TJ and Jason to TJ's house. And then TJ told Jason to go away or go to sleep or something. And then TJ took Megan into the bedroom, I guess. Correct. And that's what happened. She said she didn't want to go. She was trying to get away, but she never actually said the word stop or something.
She didn't. What the cops bait her into saying is that she didn't put up a physical fight. She did not consent.
Yeah.
But she did not try to physically stop him.
Which
is what she says. But she says that she felt really uncomfortable and was trying really hard to be polite. And the whole time that she's being questioned or anything, she's saying, like, I know that he's a prominent person and I don't feel like this is fair. Like, I don't feel that people are paying attention or listening.
No, and they won't.
And they weren't.
Did you see that guy's house? It's fucking huge.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus. And so and what I feel about that, it's like comes back to flight or fight mode. Like, you could be horrified about what's happening and not be able to do anything.
Yeah.
You can freeze up and just, I understand that.
Yeah.
If you don't fight back, that doesn't mean you don't want it.
Well, and
you're scared shitless.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had like the robbery.
Yeah.
Where that's exactly what I did. I froze. Like, I could not physically move my body from the space, even though I knew that there were multiple men with guns robbing people in front of me, and I was their next target. Yeah. My brain was like done.
Right. Especially at that age.
Yeah. I was a teenager.
You're a teenager.
Like,
and these girls are teens.
Exactly. Like, my brain just was like, done.
Can't comprehend what's happening.
Not even a little bit.
No. Yeah.
And so I think that that's a really good point, is that you never know how you will respond to something traumatic. Right. Until it's happening to you.
And cops should know that. They should have training about that. I think they do have training about that.
I think this also looks like when someone doesn't grieve the way that a cop thinks they should.
Right.
You know, then they're a suspect.
Right.
And it's like, there's no fucking rule book.
No.
Where like, oh, this human experience is happening and this emotion must be present on the face. Like, that's not how life works. No. Like, we're all so complex.
Yeah. And so she filed a police report. And they spoke to TJ, and he said, no, it was consensual, blah, blah, blah. And then he changed his story. So why does he get to change his story and still get believed, but she can't change her story, or she can't say, I didn't fight him off because I wasn't physically capable of doing that. In my mind, I was so scared. And then this asshole can come and say, oh, I changed my story.
Well, and even the way they approach him, they don't go in the house.
No.
They don't ask to go in the house.
No.
They are very buddy-buddy.
Yeah. And they let him go on a fishing trip with his lawyer and do whatever they were doing.
Oh, the conversation.
The conversation, yes.
The conversation that him and his lawyer have with the fucking detective. Were the fish biting? Oh, yeah, we caught some reds and da-da-da. I'm like, this is a fucking... I am watching the Old Boys Club just play out.
Yep. So, Megan's parents want her to wait until they get there to make a police report, and which is 100, like, yes, do not let your child go into the police without you being present.
Well, I think the police were calling her back in for, like, more questions.
I don't care.
Or whatever.
Whatever it is. I will never let my child talk to a policeman without me standing there. I don't care if they're 18.
She's an adult.
I don't give a shit.
But they do, she does request that advocate.
An advocate, yes. But the advocate doesn't stay the whole time.
Because she says she's fine.
Yes.
Because they find footage of Megan and TJ and Jason going to Megan's apartment. And she doesn't remember any of this. So Megan's blacked out.
She's blacked out. That right there. Yeah.
Watching the footage of her, normal, just walking normal, like, looks fine. And she has zero memory. I'm like, blacking out is so fucking scary.
It is. I've blacked out
many times.
Many times.
Me too. I'm like, that's terrifying.
It is terrifying when you wake up and you can't remember. It used to be
like fun.
Yeah. It did. But it's not. And so she says, I don't remember going there.
Yeah.
And so now the police are like, oh, your story's changed. I mean, even though TJ's story changed, that doesn't matter.
So the police want to go to her house.
Yeah.
To look at things. And she's like, yeah, I guess. Okay, that's fine. Like, we can do that.
Right.
And the advocate's like, well, I'll stay here. Or, I guess... She kind of is like, it's okay, you can just leave. I don't think the lady was being super helpful.
Well, she wasn't.
From what I could tell, she just sat there silently.
Yeah, she did. She didn't do shit.
But the questioning does change drastically
after she Yeah. And this interview goes on for almost 2 hours, just like the other one. Then we meet Sheriff Abernathy, and he is responsible for the officers who are investigating all of these rapes. He's a piece of work.
Did you notice the very nice car parked in Sheriff Abernathy's driveway?
The Jaguar?
The Jaguar?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, Sheriff Abernathy.
Yeah. Doing pretty good.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You got a pretty nice vehicle there, my friend.
Yep. And so we hear about him for a little bit, and then we hear about Carl Hirschman. And he's been in the law for 32 years as a cop, and he mostly worked in sex crimes.
He's the guy from San Diego, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like him.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He's
the only one.
The only one that I'm going to say, hey, good job, Carl. So he says Megan's case, within 13 hours of her reporting her rape, she was treated as a suspect. 13 hours. So 2 of those hours, this is like, it was her being interviewed. 1 hour was of another. What else were they doing? I only see 2 hours of interviewing or police work being done. What else happened? Nothing.
They didn't believe her.
They didn't do shit
from the start.
So the next day they went to bed, is what I think, and then they woke up and said, "Hey, let's arrest this bitch." Yeah. So she is treated like a suspect, and she makes the statement, "He held me down." That right there is enough to be like, I believe you. Or I should believe you, is what the cops should say. Okay. If he's holding you down and you don't like that, I believe you. That's all cops need to say.
Yep. But instead they say,
nope, you're lying.
How drunk were you?
How drunk were you?
Oh, you don't remember that? So how do you remember that he held you down?
Oh, yeah. Are you underage drinking? Let's put a fine on that.
Or how were you drinking at the bar? You have a fake ID?
Yeah. oh, let's get you in trouble for that too. Like,
yeah, it was really fucking funny.
It's fucking yeah. So they interview what's his name? TJ, right?
Yeah.
So who the fuck cares? They interview him for about 20 minutes. Yep. The girls are getting hounded. He goes in and out and is like, yeah, this stuff happens. And the cop's like, yeah, sorry to call you in and have to make you do all this. And he's like, it's okay. Let's just tell her that, like, if she doesn't pursue me, I'm not going to pursue her. What are you going to pursue her for? Theft of $3? She took my money out of my wallet. And then we find out it's $3. You fucking pig.
$3.
$3. Yes, please. Write up. Is that even considered a crime?
No.
Shit. So they press charges for theft. And this is really sad. She ends up taking her own life. That got me.
It was really bad.
I started crying. I can't imagine being that humiliated and then going through police officers humiliating you. The boy who did that humiliating you.
I'm not going to say being raped is humiliating. I'm going to say traumatizing.
Trauma, yeah.
And then the humiliation from the police.
Yes, that's the way to say it.
It's so horrific. Damaging. It's truly, truly horrific. And those cops are 100, in my opinion, responsible for her taking her own life. And they should be held accountable for that.
They should. 100%. So that was really sad. And then her parents tried to sue the school and sue the police. Or they sued the school.
They sued the guy.
And the guy.
But they couldn't sue the police.
Sue the police.
Because they have, what is that?
I don't remember.
Indemnity or some shit?
Yes. And I was like, I can't even go. Alabama, fix yourself. That's all I have to say.
I think it's going to take a lot more than
yeah,
some strong words from a random lady in Houston, Texas.
No, I'm here. You can call me up. I'll go testify against you, fucking backstate Alabama. So now we're back to the reporter, Rachel. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I want to find out how many people have been arrested for false reporting, because does this happen a lot?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I can't imagine. Sure, it might, I mean, there's people who want to get revenge against someone, and that's a great way to have it happen. But it doesn't happen that often. So she investigates over 160 cases reported in the media who talked to the police, and like, it wasn't a fair trial, right? What am I saying? Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, you said it a little wrong.
Okay.
So she sets up a Google alert to get alerted over a 10-year period of people being tried for false reporting.
Yes.
Like, and what she finds is that it's this pattern where it's like these young women being charged false reporting rapes and sexual assaults.
Yeah. And so what we hear from Carl, we come back to Carl, and he says every year more and more women and men are reporting sexual assaults. And every year we have less cops working on those cases.
Oh,
so what do we do to get that fixed? We coerce the victim into admitting that she made a false statement, or he, and then we put done, and then case closed, goodbye.
Yeah. And Carl's explaining how, like, investigators will have 30, 40 cases open at one time.
Yeah.
And so in order to fix their numbers, they're just closing shit out. They're getting people to say what they want them to say, closing it out,
and that's
stealing it up, and then it's done.
Yep.
There's no justice. There's no anything. They're really just getting them to say what they want.
Yeah. And so the cases that we've had up till now, the people that we've been talking about, they have known each other, or somehow, maybe not. They knew friends, of each other. Yeah.
They're even like known. Yeah.
Right. And so Rachel wants to find a case where the two didn't know each other to see, like, is this going to be a different outcome or what happens? And so then we meet Melissa, a defense attorney who, like, works with her and is doing all this. And then we meet what is her name?
Deanna.
Deanna?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She was pulled over by a fake policeman and was molested. He told her to get out of the car. She didn't want to. And he got her out of the car, pushed her onto...
Well, immediately told her
to turn around. So she couldn't see his face. She has no idea what he looks like. And then molests her. Mm-hmm. So she calls the police officer and says, hey, this is what happened to me. And they ask what kind of car she was driving in and trying to get all her information, what kind of car the perp was driving in. And she says, yeah, I was driving, this Kia Soul, mm-hmm. and there's video cameras of it going down the road, but you can't tell it's a Kia Soul. I'm sorry. I watched that like 3 times and I was like, I cannot figure out what type of car that is. There is no fucking way. So they say, that's your car. That's your car driving. And guess what? No other car followed you.
Following you.
No other car went by.
And I just can't even begin to think like, okay, so they just believe that this girl thought up this story.
Right.
For what purpose?
Why?
Would she be like, I was molested by a stranger?
Right.
Like, who needs that much attention? Like,
and she wanted to go into law enforcement to help people.
She was like double majoring. She said, Olivia Benson's my favorite detective.
She watched Law and Order with her dad, and that made her want to become a cop and help people. And after this happened,
she said,
she's done. And that's horrible.
I hope she changes her mind and she tries to do better.
She did say at the end, it was on she was trying to get into victim advocacy. Yes. So that, I think, would probably better suit her because she knows.
But just like, what? I know that cops and detectives, they see every walk of life, right? Like, they have to hear outlandish things in their investigating all the time. Mm-hmm. But, like, the fact that you would believe someone's making that up, is it just the strong desire to not want to do your job?
Right.
That you get paid for? Or is it truly something else? Like,
yeah.
I can't understand why they would think that someone would make that up.
Right. And they had video cameras, 4 different cameras at all different angles, and it wasn't found. Like, I don't know. The angles were all wrong.
Wasn't it like the house?
The house and then Rachel went to investigate the house and she couldn't even see the street from in the house. She knocked on her door and she was like, what happened around here?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, the police said that they had footage of her driving past a house and it was only her. And so then Rachel's like, okay, let me see this footage.
Yeah.
Like, she is a very good investigative journalist. Mm-hmm. So she's like, let me see it. And the homeowner's like, the police never got that footage from me. Oh. They are straight up just fucking lying.
Yeah. Totally lying. And, okay. So then we notice, like, Rachael kind of starts getting into false reports are pretty rare. And it says 2 to 10% are false reports. That's a very low number. So why are we not believing the victims? Why do we not believe victims when they come to us? If only 2% are false, let's try and be on the victim side.
Because they're women.
1 out of 3 women and 1 out of 6 men will be a victim of sexual assault in their life. That is insane to me. I am one, like 2 times over. I got blacked out drunk, and apparently there's a video of me with I don't know how many guys. My friends have seen it. I've never seen it. I don't remember any of it, so I didn't tell anybody about it. But it's out there. So, like, it happens. And it's just like, I felt like I was blackout drunk. So
you feel responsible.
I felt responsible that, like, I can't go to you and tell you because I don't remember what happened. And if I don't remember what happened, you're not going to believe me. And if I was drinking that much, you're not going to believe me.
Or, like, I know that for me, when I drink and when I drink in excess, I felt like I put myself in those situations. So, like, I deserved the consequences.
Right.
Whether or not that's true, that was
be true.
how I felt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So there's that. So then they try and they choose a few counties to like request documents from the police. Took them 3 years to get a hold of like these police.
Oh my gosh! Doesn't it take them? They have to sue.
Yeah, they have to
for
sue.
the footage for Emma, right?
Yeah,
I think it's for Emma because the police during their ruse, they say that there's footage of her making out with a guy and then getting into a car.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Where? Like, can I see it?"
Yeah,
because
and then we see it, and it's not even her.
It's not. It doesn't even look like her.
No. The outfit's wrong, the hair's wrong, the body style's wrong, everything.
And they don't get into a car after.
No.
They walk away.
They walk away. So Rachael gets she has 52 cases that she's kind of just generalized working on with false reporting. And of these cases, they had been arrested before any investigating had even happened.
Yeah.
So these women went to the police station, said that they were raped, no investigation was done, then the women get arrested. What is wrong with that? So the reporting of victims becomes a suspect. Of the 52 cases she dug into, 36 knew the suspect, 35 kind of knew the suspect, and 15
were unknown.
And 32 recounted their statements because they were scared. That is insane. Okay.
Crazy.
They hired a dentist who's an attorney to get police reports for Emma. Oh, yeah. So that we just talked about that. Yeah. Okay. So then we meet Detective Cotto. Cotto? C-O-T-T-O. Cotto. Who cares? He's a douche. He investigates Vicky's case about the Nikki's case about the two football players. And
so we're all the way back at the beginning.
Yeah, we're all the way back at the beginning. We kind of go back and forth in this talk, so it's kind of like...
Yeah, we gave you a warning.
And we did give you a warning. And my brain... all over the place. So and then the police, he won't confirm or deny if he was rusing or lying in the case. And he was, but he doesn't... They also, I find out, they don't have to put that in the police report that they lied. No. So... They just said this, and then, so, like, the top dog is looking at this case, and they're like, oh, well, no lying, great. This looks great. Like, you did great police work, you really figured this shit out, when the whole thing was a fucking lie.
Yeah.
And these people are at their most vulnerable times in their life. Yeah. It is insane.
So the thought that, I don't know what you have in your notes.
I don't know. I think, can't read my writing.
But I think what I found really interesting was that Rachael presents this Detective Cotto with the knowledge that both of these football players had been reported to have raped someone else, I think 2 months prior.
Yeah, or a month prior. Not long.
Yeah, like very, very soon before. That's not the right words. But very, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he had no knowledge of that.
Yeah.
He didn't even look into it enough to see that this was reported. And she's like, would it change the way that you investigated this case? And he says, no.
Yeah.
Like,
and
imagine. Hold on.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, this person maybe murdered someone. Like, this person saying that they attempted to murder. And, like, a month ago, they also attempted a murder. Like, you wouldn't think that that's a fucking pattern?
Yeah. Or something to be looked into?
Yeah. But because it's a girl being raped, you're like, no.
Whatever.
It's so disheartening. And it sucks.
Yeah.
Being a woman and like navigating.
Yeah.
Having people just routinely not fucking listen to you.
Yeah.
Police, doctors, nobody listens.
So, in my case, my friends called the cops and reported it. And when the cop talked to me, because I was inebriated, he told me filing a false rape report is against the law. And so I just said, fuck you, get out of it. Because what else was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to drag my name and my parents' name and all of this shit through the mud when I couldn't remember? I knew I was fucking blackout drunk.
Yeah.
It's not going to look good. I'm not going to go anywhere. They're going to convict me. And then my name and my face is going to be plastered all over the fucking news.
Yeah.
So you know what? I didn't even call the cops. My friends did. So wouldn't you think that that might be a telltale sign that maybe something happened?
Yeah.
When the victim's not even calling, their friends are calling? Like,
yeah.
So this is just... And then Kato says he couldn't even find the suspect in the sentence. In his system. Like the men that had raped before, he couldn't even find them. They weren't even in the system. They hadn't been put in saying that they had allegedly raped someone else. He couldn't find their names anywhere. So, like, this is...
I wasn't clear. Like, was he just straight up lying?
I don't know.
Or, like, what was that?
I mean, because they knew that it happened, but told...
Rachel knew.
Yeah, Rachel knew. But he told Emma, I can't find anything. I don't know what you're talking about. These boys aren't in the system. Nikki. Sorry. Yeah, Nikki. Then we go back to Emma, and
watching her look at like where it happened was so...
There's no evidence that she lied. Like, it's just not there. And I don't know what else to say about it. It's just, it's not even the same area. The cameras aren't even in that area where they said that she had gotten into a car. Like, it was just...
I don't... How many more notes do you have?
Just this last page.
I think when you see the video, finally see the video, it's so sad because it does nothing but prove that she wasn't lying.
Right.
Like, it's a video of 4 college kids walking, and it is exactly the people she described. Yep. It is exactly the group. It's exactly the location. Like, it's everything she said. Yep. Like, this is what they did. And they just didn't fucking believe her. And they used that video to discredit her, even though it's exactly what she said.
Yeah. To the T. Yeah. So then towards the end, it's back to, what's the sergeant, the good guy's name? Carl. He's in San Diego, and he does trainings for sexual assaults and how police should respond to those is what I meant. Yeah. So he says sexual assaults occur usually between 14 and 26 years old because those are young and they don't have experience with cops or the world yet, 14 shit.
Well, and I think you're just putting yourself at those ages, you're putting yourself in more risky situations.
Yes, because you don't know any better.
Correct.
Because you haven't been alive that long.
I think, before we started recording, you and I were talking about, like, how if I were to drink or do any of the things I did in college or high school, like, I could not do that now.
Right.
Like, I couldn't black out drunk.
No.
Like, I mean, I don't drink at all. But
neither.
I couldn't get like that.
No. Not anymore.
And if someone was like, hey, take this Xanax and drink a bottle of vodka, like, I think that would legitimately kill me.
Right.
Whereas 20-year-old me would be like, okay, that's for Friday. Like,
let's go.
It's just the exposure, and you're putting yourselves in those risky situations more frequently, I think, than when you're a little more mature.
Yes, that's true. So The ending kind of, I just wanted to give you some numbers. It's just them filming some of the survivors giving their story to these police officers to make them understand and know how to respond to a victim. 463,634 sexual assaults are reported each year.
Jesus.
Only 30, no, happen each year. Only 30% of them are reported. Only 1% are prosecuted. And that's it. 1%.
It's awful.
It's horrible. So I suggest you guys watch this. I suggest you write a review to this wonderful investigator, Rachael. Like, I think I'm going to find her information and put it in the show notes so you can email her and be like, you're a badass. Because I'm going to do that too. Because I hope this story explodes. I hope lots of podcasters get this out from Netflix and do their own version of it, because she did amazing work, and this needs to be, we need to be aware of this.
Yeah.
And it's not just women. It's men too. Men can be sexually assaulted as well.
Absolutely. And I think, to be quite honest, I think men are at even more of a disadvantage.
Yes.
I think that
Yeah.
that's like a whole other set of challenges.
Yeah.
You know, where I don't think men are believed.
No, for sure not. Like, how could a man be raped?
Well, because they are masculine, you know,
Right.
but like, I guess not. This story isn't rape, but like, I know someone who's a man who got drugged in a club in New Orleans, and he is missing 18 hours of his life.
Oh my God.
Zero memory. He recovers his memory in downtown Louisiana or downtown New Orleans with no phone, no wallet. They drove him to ATMs all throughout and had him take money out of his account. Just drained his account.
Wow.
Took his phone, took everything.
That's horrible.
And like, I know that that's not sexual assault. Mm-hmm. So it's very different.
Right.
But it's also very much the same. It's, you know,
violating.
Like, extremely violating.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It is.
It's not crazy.
That is crazy.
So,
all right.
bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at
The Murder Mamas.
and TikTok.
The Murder Mamas 2.
It's the number 2. And YouTube.
The Murder Mamas.
And email us at
TheMurderMamas@gmail.com.
Thanks.
Bye.